Good afternoon, everyone. We are here with the first Q&A, and we have some power issues as well, but seems like we can manage. So we'll start with the questions that are available.
Avasara Bhante, we have 6 questions today. Report number 1. Title, Sitting Meditation. Primary object, observed my belly movement. Details observed. First few minutes, I could fully concentrate on the rising and falling of the stomach. Thereafter, the mind was wandering and I had to mindfully concentrate. Many times, I felt that I was not really observing the natural stomach rising and falling, but was doing it intentionally in order to concentrate. Where did the attention go? Past incidents. Then the title, Mindful Walking Meditation. Primary object, observing the feet touching the choir mat. Details observed, pressure on my feet. Concentrated on the feel when touching the choir mat. I could concentrate on my feet touching the choir mat for a longer period than concentration on the stomach movement while doing the sitting meditation. How long were you able to meditate? Maybe for about 5 minutes. Anyway, longer than the sitting meditation. Where did your mind go? Hobbies and nasty incidents I faced in the past. On people who made my life difficult. Thero Nissarana. That's all.
Yes, it seems like a report from a beginner. So this is the natural experience for a beginner. You find the walking easier than the sitting meditation, easier to concentrate, easier to be mindful. That is natural to a beginner. And these thoughts, certain incidents, certain people in your life, these things appear. They grab your attention. That's how it works. But among all these things, you are able to return your attention to the selected object. Let's say the belly movement, you can repetitively return your attention there. Then the steps, you can repetitively return your attention there. That would be the very training. Right? And sometimes for a beginner, it is natural that they feel the breathing forceful. They feel that the walking becomes forceful. In order to maintain your attention there, in order to concentrate to that object, the process becomes forceful. But that's okay. That comes in the beginning. But when you practice repetitively, that forceful nature will disappear and you will be able to observe a natural breathing or observe a natural walking. That will come in time, but initially this is natural. This happens. And the important thing is that you realize what are the things that matter to you. Maybe certain people, certain incidents, they repetitively come to your mind, and most people, they complain about these things. They say these things disturb me, these are the hindrances for my meditation. That way we react to these things, but when you experience these thoughts, these people, these memories, in a way, that very experience tells you a secret. It tells you what matter to you. Right? These are the things that matter to you. These are the problems that you have. These are the people that grab most of your attention. So in a way, it's a different insight into your own mind. That insight is important for a meditator. They get to realize what bothers them the most. They get to realize what are the incidents that grab their attention the most. Who are the people that comes to their mind more often. Right? These things are valid, these things are important. Right? So it becomes a difficult journey. The process becomes difficult. Repetitively these things come. Sometimes they are painful. These memories, they hurt you. But among all these experiences, you try to bring your attention back to the primary object. That very painstaking journey would be the meditation. And when you do it for a while, when you get to know the practice properly, then it becomes much easier. This initial phase, you can feel a certain level of friction, but we encourage you to withstand it. We encourage you to continue your practice and see how this becomes much better, how the practice becomes much better, how the awareness improves, and you can naturally do the observation without much force. So good start. Continue your practice and you can report once again tomorrow.
Report number 2. Dear Bhante, my sitting meditation was very peaceful and as I engaged with the breath and the void at the same time. At certain moments my breathing was voluntary and I took in long breaths. Other times my breath was light and felt at the nostrils only. Towards the latter part of the meditation, my mind got hold of some thoughts and I felt sleepy. My mindfulness was good as I fully concentrated during my reading and eating. There were thoughts such as my political orientation, my cousin's wedding, and my difficulties faced in life. Some of these thoughts, such as my political orientation, were dismissed for other observation. The other thoughts fell away in the process of eating and due to silence of the retreat. Thero Saranai.
Yes, politics, it's a hot topic these days. Yes. So they come, they grab your attention. So in a way, this profile, it shows your own world. Right? We feel like we are living in the same world. It's the same world that we are experiencing. That's how we think. But in your mind, you have your unique world, your unique concepts, your unique orientations. All these things, this is your unique world. And in meditation, we get to experience it. Our own unique likings, our own unique opinions, our own unique ways of perceiving things. All these things appear and it becomes a very vivid, colorful journey, the whole process of meditation. And in your report you mentioned that the breath becomes voluntary and sometimes it could become involuntary. Right? That change is there. Usually for a meditator, a seasoned meditator, we encourage them to allow the involuntary processes to happen more and more. We encourage them to minimize the voluntary processes. Let it be bodily, let it be verbal, let it be mental, whatever it is, we encourage them to minimize the voluntary involvements and allow the involuntary things to happen. That balance is difficult to understand initially, but gradually the meditation becomes something that happens instead of doing much. Right? It becomes involuntary more and more, and that's the way of the progress. We allow things to happen more and more and simply become the observer of that very process. Right? So that part you have to keep in mind. When you season in meditation, you have to allow things to happen and simply become the observer. Initially we have a certain level of interference, where voluntary things are there, but gradually we have to encourage more and more involuntary things and simply let things happen. That ability we have, but it takes some time, right? In Zen they say Tao. When you allow things to happen, that is Tao, right? When you interfere, it's probably not the Tao, right? That happen in part. Certain thoughts are there, they come. Initially these thoughts are involuntary. But then there is this reaction to these thoughts. Sometimes we try to prevent them from happening. We try to suppress them. So the whole process becomes voluntary. Sometimes the breath is naturally happening, involuntary. But at a certain level, we try to force it, we try to control it. Even the walking, you can feel the body walks, it naturally walks. In its own rhythm, the body will walk. That process is more appreciated than voluntarily walking, than breathing voluntarily. All those thoughts and things that happen, allow them to happen in a natural way, and that would be the best meditation. Simply things are taking their own path. You become the observer. That ability you have, that potential you have, but it takes some time for you to develop it. Because we live in the world of, doing many things. The whole world, the society, even the parents, the education system, these things encourage us to do many things. These things encourage us to interfere more and more. That's the whole encouragement we had in this life. So when it comes to meditation, we say, don't do, simply be. So you try to minimize your bodily things, you try to prevent your verbal actions, and simply try to be without even doing voluntary things in the mind. That ability initially it feels like very hard, but gradually you realize it is naturally things are happening. When you don't interfere, it is perfect. When you don't interfere, things are happening perfectly. That's there, right? Even when you deal with your family matters, most of you would think that without me, my family members won't survive. Without me, my work matters will be abandoned. Right? That way we think. We have this like self-centered kind of a thinking. We feel like we are the creator of this whole thing. But when, let's say you die, right? Even the same group, couple of people, I think they have passed away. So when they die, you feel like the things will stop. The family members will starve. Right? That's how you feel. But gradually they pick themselves and they continue their journey. Even the work matters, they probably continue even better. Yes, without you. That's how it is. That's how it is. Family members cry for a few days. Friends will remember for a few weeks. The work matters will be here and there for some time. But gradually everything continues. The children that were not able to cook, they will somehow figure it out. Right? So that's the nature of these things. Right? We feel like we are the creator, we are the center of this whole universe. But without us, the world functions even better. Right? The world functions perfectly without any trouble. Right? That reality is there. So you have to understand, before your death, you get to experience this in meditation. When you don't interfere, things are happening perfectly. When you interfere, it becomes less perfect. Right? That ability we have, you can develop it little by little, and that would be the best meditation you can do. Simply sit and allow things to take their own course. Simply walk and allow things to happen. That would be the practice. Encourage more and more involuntary things and refrain from doing or refrain from interfering. Try and see.
Report number 3, Respectable Bhante. Mindful walking. Primary object was to concentrate the soles of my feet. I noticed the different parts of my soles touching the ground, starting from heels, then the front parts of my feet and the toes. Sometimes I noticed some cracking sounds of sand between my soles and the ground. 50% of the body weight was moving from one to the other foot. Compared to earlier, the nature of thoughts came to my mind was less, and I was able to concentrate longer period. I would like to know from there what else I should observe or feel, etc. Mindful sitting. Primary object was to concentrate on breathing. I kept my mind on entry of air through nostrils, inhalation and exhalation. I noticed air going in and out, except that I couldn't observe the other features of breathing. I was able to concentrate breathing longer period compared to earlier. Various kinds of thoughts came, but I just ignored them. My attention was grabbed by my physical pain in the legs. How much I tried to ignore it, it kept on disturbing my mind, and I had to change my posture several times. Respectable Bhante, is this due to inadequate practice? Mindful daily activities. I am happy that I am able to carry out most of my daily activities mindfully. Sometimes, on and off, I realize that my mind is somewhere else, but it is only for a shorter period. Thero Nissarana.
Yes, so walking, sitting and even the daily practice, you have done a certain level of observation. Now, good, this observation is good, but I have to tell you, when you observe more and more, you will get to see more and more finer details. Of course, currently you have observation, you notice certain details, but there are lot of details that you miss, right? So those things, when the observation becomes sharper, you will be able to observe those missing details as well. So that's why it is more like ongoing practice, right? Today you see a certain level, today you experience a certain level, but when you do tomorrow, it will be a different level, right? So this practice is ever evolving all the time, right? So what we encourage is simply repetitive practice. Even for a newcomer, one takeaway would be every day try to sit for like 15 minutes at least. Do a 15 minutes of walking session. And daily you do this. 30 minutes in total, it's not a lot of time. So every day sit for 15 minutes, every day walk for 15 minutes. That way when you continue, after a few weeks only you realize how much your mindfulness has increased due to the repetitive practice. That's how we can do this. We have certain children in those Vipassana sessions, they didn't put too much time towards the practice, but they continued for many weeks, many months, many years. They started at a younger age, maybe like 8-9 years old. now most of them are teenagers, right? So they have practiced for at least like 4 or so years. They haven't done many hours of meditation every week. Instead, maybe like 13, 15, 20 minutes weekly. 15, 20 minutes of walking, sitting. That way they have continued for 4 or so years. Right? So initially they were very fragile. Their practice was very fragile. That's how they started. But now when you hear their meditation report, you can really feel how much they have improved. Right? So that repetitive practice, allowing the practice to grow naturally, that's the secret. That's the secret. Otherwise, you think that you come to a retreat, you try to complete your mindfulness within 3-4 days and go. That's how most people try, but it is not successful. Instead, you have to get to know the practice properly and do your daily practice and continue for few weeks, few months, few years even. And when that happens, you realize gradually you become much better at it. Right? That's the very idea. So those reports from those children, when you hear them, you can really feel how strong their practice is. No matter what comes, their mind is not shaken. Thoughts come and go, surrounding sounds come and go. The pain is there, bodily sensations are there, but among all these things, they are able to maintain their mindfulness. Right? So things like pain, things like these thoughts, surrounding sounds, they appear disturbance. They appear as disturbance initially. That's how people see them. But gradually when you improve your practice, you realize these things also become a part of the whole practice. When the pain comes, simply try to observe the characteristics of the pain. Initially it is not easy because many people, they have aversion towards pain. They don't like the pain. They have aversion towards the pain. So you don't get to see the message that pain brings. You don't get to see the characteristics of the pain. But gradually when you develop your practice, you start to see how this is not a solid pain. Instead, it's bits and pieces of pain that we consider as a solid pain. A leg pain or headache, back pain, these things are not a solid pain. Instead, they are combined of bits and pieces. Right? That very observation need sharper mindfulness. That way you have to grow your mindfulness, and when the mindfulness grows, your observation will be refined, more detailed observation you can have. Right? That's the very way. That's the very idea. So repetitive practice. Doing it again and again. And more you do it, more sharper or stronger your mindfulness will be. Right? So try and see. That's the way forward. Same observation. Continue for many times. And when you do it, you get to see sharper observation, more vivid details you can see.
Report number 4, walking meditation. Meditation started after few months today. Primarily, we wanted to concentrate on foot touching the ground. Experience. Initially, it was difficult to concentrate only on foot touching due to outside noises and thoughts. After few more minutes, managed to concentrate. I felt pressure when touching the ground, as well as roughness and coldness of sand. But when I concentrated on different feelings like roughness, temperature and softness of soil, I was distracted. So I concentrated only pressure feelings of heat. I concentrated only pressure feeling of the heel when touch the ground and increased the speed of walking. I could concentrate longer time at a stretch. Question: is it bad to take a short nap after about 1 to 2 hour meditation? Eating time, try to experience all the feeling during lunch and concentrated on these feelings. Experience while mixing food with finger and inside mouth. It was easy to concentrate on smell, color, texture, taste of different curries, etc. Though it's a short time, manage to experience and concentrate better. Question: is it better to extend eating time and concentrate on these feelings? That's all, Bhante.
Yes, so couple of questions are there. Probably you can take a nap in the sitting posture. That would be much better. Even people who come to the retreats over there, residential retreats, and they ask about, having a nap in the day. And that's okay. You can nap in the sitting posture. Not even a short nap, a long nap you can take. Not a problem. But when you go into that lying down posture, usually it goes out of control. Right? So meditation, you feel like you are doing a whole lot. You feel like it's like working and probably needs a lot of resting out of it, after it. Right? That's how you feel. But in meditation, in practice, you get to experience a lot of relaxation as well. Right? So you don't need much sleep when you meditate. Most of our energy, it goes for thinking thoughts. That's where the energy goes. But in meditation, you don't appreciate those processes. You try to be mindful. As a result, naturally, the relaxation comes. Even in today morning session, I came with a lot of tiredness, traveling and things like that. But sitting in meditation for like 30 minutes, it felt like a long nap after finishing the session. Right? So you can see how the mind and body relaxes. That way of relaxation we can find in the practice. It is not the usual relaxation that we know. Usually we know sleep as our relaxation. But in this practice, you get to realize a different type of relaxation. Relaxation through wakefulness. That's a different type of relaxation. And they have done a research about the relaxation levels through meditation. And what they have figured, they measured the oxygen consumption levels of the brains. And that's an indication of the relaxation. And the oxygen consumption levels you get after 6 hours of sleep, same relaxation levels are achieved within 20 minutes of sitting meditation. Right? I'm not saying that 6 hours of sleep equals to 20 minutes of meditation. Same relaxation levels are achieved. Right? So you can see meditation in a way is a rapid relaxation. The natural sleep, it takes 6 hours for a brain to reach there. But in meditation, within 20 minutes, the same level of relaxation is achieved. Right? So, a different type of relaxation than the relaxation we know. It's available in meditation. Even let's say you work, you come home after a busy, tiring work day. Instead of taking a nap, right, if you can simply do a meditation session, then you get to experience how that very meditation will help you to feel fresh in your body and mind. When we have a nap, it feels like, that energy is not proper. You wake up in some drowsy kind of a manner. But in meditation, you sit, and when you wake up, you can feel the mind is still fresh, energetic, unlike the sleep. Right? So that those differences are there. You have to try and experience these things. You have to figure them out for yourself. We can give you some pointers, but you yourself will have to practice and figure it out. Then the food, consuming the food, you can try it and see various options, various experiments you can do and figure out your own balance. One more thing I would like to highlight. You started your meditation report saying, started my meditation after few months. Right? That is the first sentence. But we don't encourage that type of a behavior. That means you say that only after few months I am meditating. Only today I have arrived to a meditation center. During these 3 days I'll meditate, then again maybe like couple of months break. That's not the attitude that we should have. Instead, meditation becomes living. That's the very idea. That's why we say don't meditate, be mindful. When it comes to mindfulness, whether you are here, whether you are at home, whether you are in a retreat or whether you are working, you can simply be mindful. Then there won't be any break in your practice. Sometimes you are successful, sometimes you are not. But you try to continue each and every task with a certain level of awareness. That's the correct attitude. Otherwise, this is a never-ending game. You meditate, you go home, you take couple of months break. Again, you come and meditate. Again, you go and take a break. That's not going to work. Right? So, we encourage you to continue your practice as mindfulness. Whether you come here or whether you are at home, can you be mindful? Whether you are in a retreat or whether you are at work, can you be mindful? Whether you are in a peaceful environment or whether you are in a busy street, can you be mindful? That's the very idea. That's the very attitude that you should develop towards the practice. Simply the practice becomes living. Whatever you do, simply try to do them mindfully. That's the very idea. Try to have that change in attitude.
The last report number 5. Dear Bhante, could you kindly explain the difference between Dukkha Satya and Dukkha Arya Satya? My understanding is that Dukkha Satya refers to the difficulties and unpleasant experiences that every human being goes through, such as sorrow, pain, old age, death, etc. However, Dukkha Arya Satya goes beyond and it explains that there are universal principles that never change. That is Pancha Upadana Skandha. This arise, exist for a while and disappear. This impermanent nature explained by Dukkha Arya Satya. Is that correct? I may be wrong. If so, please clearly explain what is Dukkha Arya Satya. Theruvan Saranai.
Yes, we can say like this. If you have the right view, then whole thing becomes Dukkha Arya Satya. Right? If you have wrong view, then it becomes something else. For example, let's say suicides. Right? People commit suicide due to certain experiences of their life. Right? When you think about that very experience, it shows that very experience tries to teach a certain lesson. But if you don't have right view, then what happens is that you react towards this experience. You take it personally. You say that the whole world is trying to get back at me. These people are hating me. These people are trying to get back at me. All those different thought processes appear. But if you have right view, then you know this is the universal nature of the existence. Right? That right view would be the deciding factor. If you have wrong view, then you go towards wrong opinions, wrong ideas, wrong actions, that way. Wrong type of a reaction. Many of the suicides happen due to these type of things. They take that very experience personally. They think that I can't live without this person. I can't live with this difficulty. That type of a reaction is there. Even some time back, a doctor from Apeksha Hospital, he did a presentation about delivering the message to the patients. Right? You have cancer. Delivering that to a patient. Right? So people have various kind of reactions. For the very first time you hear that you are cancer positive. How can you accept that news? So he did a whole presentation with his experience about delivering the message. How people take it, how people react to it. And he was sharing one of the experiences. He said that one of the technicians in the lab, he did something unnecessary. He informed the patient that the report is cancer positive. The report is positive, you should go meet the doctor quickly. That was the message given by the technician. And this patient, he was with his wife. He left the wife there, gave her the report, and went to the 5th floor and jumped off. Right? Committed suicide. So the doctor was saying the cancer was curable. But people, when they hear they have cancer, they have these type of reactions. Right? But we know people, due to the cancer only, they started their practice. They started their whole meditation journey due to this bad news, due to the cancer. Right? They continued their practice, sometimes with extreme pain in the body, through all the difficulties that they have to encounter, through treatment. Right? That way they gradually developed their practice. And towards the end of it, they were able to accept this fate. Simply accept the pain in the body, simply accept leaving this life earlier than they planned. That very ability they have developed. So you can see the same experience, same pain could either make you commit suicide or could move you towards the practice. Right? So very deciding factor would be right view. If you have the right view, then you probably know that this is a life-changing experience that will drive me towards the Dhamma. If you don't have right view, then you destroy yourself due to that very experience. So that's the idea I get. And Buddha says something interesting. He says, even without the Dhamma, sometimes the Dhamma is not there in this world. The Buddha's teaching is not there in this world. Still, the people, they experience pain. They experience all these difficulties. And when they experience, they go in search for something, some solution. But there is nothing to be found. And due to that, some of them, they become drunkheads. Some of them, they start crimes or, commit crimes. That way they go into wrong things. But the very origin was the pain and the search that follows. Unfortunately, the Dhamma was not there to be found, so they were going astray. Right? So the very experience will lead you towards finding Dhamma or towards destroying yourself. That's the whole thing. The deciding factor would be the right view. If you have the right view, then you know this is not personal. This is the nature. This is the human life that we live. With that attitude, you can use that very experience to improve your practice and become better in accepting this. Right? So that's the way. Try to see whether you have right view or wrong view. Whether you take things according to the Dhamma or whether you take things in a worldly manner. That's how you have to understand this.
That's all, Bhante.
Yes. So that's the written questions.
Bhante.
And if there's a newcomer especially, have any questions, doubts? Yes. No, I mean newcomers. You are not a newcomer, no? Any newcomers? I saw few people, 5-6 people in the morning. So if you have any doubts, questions about the practice, this would be your opportunity. We invite you to engage in the discussion because, these type of, when you are new to the practice, sometimes little things that are very common in the practice, those things can become obstacles. So it's important that you discuss, you clear them and continue your practice. Any such doubts, questions? Yes. Might have to speak a bit louder.
I'm not a newcomer, but from the questions I'm asking this question, Bhante. When you are, how do you get the right view before the practice? Don't you develop the right view after you come to the Dhamma? Can you develop it before being introduced to the Dhamma? Say in one of those instances where this person was told he had cancer and he committed suicide. So he didn't have the right view, but he had no time to practice also.
No, it's like, it's not a case of whether you have it or not. It's a process, right? Usually we feel like right view, whether you have, sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't have. That's not the case. Instead, this whole thing is a process, right? So that doctor, he was saying in his presentation that some people, they have this inborn quality. He couldn't explain it in a different way. He was saying some people, they have this inborn quality and they are able to accept this message in a certain level of, certain level of, without going to extremes, they are able to accept that message with a certain level of confidence and deal with it. Some people, it comes as a shock, right? So you can't say whether you have right view or not. It's not like it's not that simple. It's not like 0 or 1. Instead, it is a journey. It is a journey. Even Buddha was saying that these type of incidents make you search. Go search, right? How to solve this? Why this happened to me? that type of questions, right? And sometimes when you search, you get to experience Dhamma, you get to hear about Dhamma, you get to hear about meditation, right? And then you start your practice, you develop your practice, and after a few years you realize that very cancer was the best thing that happened in my life, right? So it's a journey. It's not like whether you have it or not, that's not the way. Maybe some inborn qualities are also there. You have good merits from the past lives, right? Those things support you. So it's a complicated matter, but somewhere we have to start now. These things, they are evolving. Even the right view is evolving. Initially you have a certain level. When you develop your practice, it is evolving. So these things, the problem is that we feel like they are destinations. We have the right view or not. We have the mindfulness or not. That way we feel. But the whole process is a journey. Right? Even the Eightfold Path, it is a journey. It's like making the best soup. Right? You adjust your ingredients, you put salt, you put some black pepper, right? Figuring out the proper balance. The best soup. Right? So that's how it works. This whole journey is like that. It's not a destination, it's a journey. Gradually, little by little, you improve your practice, develop your practice, and more you practice, more right view or these Eightfold Paths, you will be developed. Right? So that's the way. So start somewhere and continue. And when you continue, you become better at it. Okay, then no questions about the practice. Yes. He's having some questions as well.
I thought he gave me a written question.
I think that the one with 2 questions, right? That was yours.
The political orientation.
Yes. So one more question left. 3 question quota. There in the report, there were 2 questions. Yes.
Yeah. Like right now, not right now, but generally, I feel that the world is somewhat temporary. Like when I walk and I hear the birds sing and like all the noises that I hear, I get the feeling that everything is temporary. And there is a feeling of dukkha also. But I don't know how to, first of all, involve that in my life processes, Like say eating, for example, I feel greedy when I see food and all. I don't remember the temporary nature of things. So how can I get more and more how can I inculcate that into my life? And also like is that part of the ignorance chipping away, or is it something different from that?
It's like, time to time our ability changes. You feel like things are temporary. You feel like the food is even not important until you meet seafood. Yes, that's how it is. That's how it is. When we are having something we don't like or not that interesting, then we feel like it is not permanent, it is temporary. When we find things we like, we forget the whole thing. Right? That's how the mind works. You have to understand ignorance. It is not equally distributed everywhere. You have your own weaknesses. When it comes to that only, the ignorance arises. Right? So see it. All the other food is temporary. Seafood feels like permanent. Right? Dealing with daily matters, dealing with certain people, it feels like temporary. But there are a couple of people maybe in your life, the whole thing becomes permanent. Right? Dealing with other things like work matters. Right? Sometimes you feel like this is not important, this is temporary. But a certain loss appears in the business, then you react to it. Right? So that way it changes. It changes. What we encourage is simply observe this change. Observe the temporary nature as well as observe the permanent nature. Observe the person that says, okay, this food is not interesting, not permanent, temporary kind of a attitude. Then again, this very person is greedily gulping down seafood. Right? Observe that as well. Time to time this changes and you continue the observation. That's the way. Most people, they feel like, I do this part, then I forget the rest. That's not how it works. Whether you feel permanent or whether you feel temporary, continue the observation. Continue the observation. Whether you are more or less distant from the things, whether you are strongly gripping and holding, continue the observation. Whether you are calm in your mind, whether you are agitated all around the place, continue the observation. That's the proper approach. That's the approach that we encourage. See how things become temporary at times. See how things become permanent at times. See how we are protecting precepts at times. See how we are breaking precepts at times. See how we are mindful at times. See how we are unmindful at times. Maybe later you realize I was unmindful. Right? So that way we try to continue this observation throughout these different status. And that's how you can develop the practice. That's the answer to your question. Simply seeing how this very attitude of this mind is changing. Right? That very observation is the way towards practice. Try and see. We wish you get more and more seafood. Then only you get to see it, no? Otherwise, these vegetable food, nothing. Temporary. Right? Even for me it feels like temporary. But when something delicious appears, it becomes permanent. Right. Okay, I think we have taken exactly 1 hour for the discussion. And since there are no more questions, doubts, we can go join our practice. And till 4, we can continue our walking, sitting practice. And at 4 p.m. we will gather for daily talk.